Hello everybody, this is Kiyoshi here and welcome back to another episode of Kiyoshi's Aquarium. Today's topic, we'll be talking about how to keep your newly purchased fish or aquatic plants alive. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, fish casualty has always been a big problem in fish keeping. A lot of times we have all these crazy ideas, plans for the new fish that we purchased. Those are probably the dream fish that we wanted for our aquarium, and also those amazing looking aquatic plants. We have all those aquascaping ideas and imagining how beautiful those plants will look when they are planted in our aquariums. However, the reality is sometimes never the same as how we imagined. A lot of times when we introduce a new fish, a new dream fish to our aquarium, maybe within a week, maybe 20 to 50% of them will die. And a lot of times when we introduce aquatic plants, they might look beautiful and healthy at the beginning, but sooner or later, within a month, they started to wilt away or dying slowly one by one. And we wonder, what did we do wrong? What just happened? Why there's such a high casualty rate. So, yep, regardless if you're a beginner level aquarium fish keeper, or if you're medium level or even advanced, we all face deaths in fish as well as aquatic plants. So here's some tips that I have, and also based on my personal experience from the mistakes that I've made in the past. Hopefully this can help you to minimize or decrease the casualty rate in your fish as well as the plants. First of all, the source. Where did you get your fish from, and where did you get the plants from are some of the very important factors to how well your fish and plants will do. If you got them from a chained aquarium store like Paco, PetSmart, etc. I'm not saying those places are not the best source. Of course, probably that's where most people find their fish or aquatic plants from. However, you really want to test the water parameters, their water parameters and your water parameters. A lot of times, as far as I know, Paco and PetSmart, even though they're from your neighborhood, okay, the water they're using may be treated waters. They might not be exactly the same water that you're using. Even you guys are maybe just a street away from each other. You live right next to them. Do always ask them what kind of water parameters they're using. Is there anything they used on their water? For example, have they used anything to soften their water or make it harder, etc.? Because from my experience, what I learned is a lot of times Paco or PetSmart do treat their waters. It's not just how you see. Just adding, tap water remover or something. Not tap water remover, those tap water conditioner. That's not the only thing they add. They also add other stuff to their water. So do be careful and ask your questions. Ask questions. What kind of water have they treated their water other than just tap water conditioner? Of course, if you have a test kit, try to test your water versus their water to make sure the waters are matching, because the number one casualty reason to your fish and aquatic plant is because of the water parameters are so different, or the water types are so different. Soft water, hard water, pH levels, etc. That is one of the reasons, and one of the major reasons why fish die and plants die, because they cannot acclimate. They couldn't acclimate without being shocked. I know there's many methods to acclimate your fish or plant. There's that, you let the bag float on top of the aquarium and slowly introducing your tank water into the water, and then, maybe wait 30 minutes to an hour. That's the acclimation process for fish. As for plants, when you first purchase a plant, you probably want to wash it off. Wash the plant first to make sure there's nothing bad or surprises that comes with the plant, and then introduce the plant to your aquariums. There's many ways. I mean, there are also people who only temperature acclimate the fish. As long as the temperature is matching with your aquarium temperature, they don't do the water dripping methods. They just go straight to dump the fish into the aquarium. Those are up to you. I don't think there's one particular method of acclimating fish is better than the other. It all depends on the source, how long. If you get your fish from a local fish store, which is like within an hour or 30 minutes away, or you're ordering the fish online. I think the way you should treat the fish to acclimate your fish is going to be completely different. If you order the fish online, those fish are probably already stressed. They probably took a couple days before the fish reach you, arrive at your home. I don't recommend dripping acclimate, those time processing, how do they call it? Those time-consuming fish acclimations. For example, first temperature acclimating it, and then using the dripping system, water acclimating the fish. I do not recommend it because your fish is already very stressed from all those shipping, and second, the water is probably super polluted with ammonia and those bad stuff. Your fish is probably, 1 inch from dying if they stay longer in that little plastic bag. And the best thing you can do is pull them out of that disgusting water the moment you open the package and just dump them into your quarantine tank. And then do 50% of water change every single day for the first 2 weeks that your fish are being quarantined. I think that is the best way to do it. However, if you're purchasing the fish from your local fish store, which is just, minutes away or within an hour, you can do those, water dripping acclimations. I guess that doesn't hurt because your fish is not going to be as stressed as, a fish that's being shipped to you by a carrier. So those are very different methods and that I recommend. And also, that is the number one tip, to know your source, where you get the fish from. If you're getting it from local fish store, not chain at fish store, like local fish store, I think you just go Yelp, go online, check their reputations. If, those fish stores treat their fish good or not, how their water parameters are, if they're compatible with yours. If they're very different, do you need to do anything to treat your water before adding the fish? All those kind of stuff you can ask the people working at your local fish store before buying the fish. That is the number one success tip. As long as your water does not, your fish does not experience temperature shock, water parameter shock, pH shock, you will have a high success rate of keeping those fish alive. My experience, I'm pretty lucky. I have a couple fish stores very close to where I live. I live in the city, so they're all like 5 to 10 minutes away from where I live. There's there's 2 Petcos within 10 minutes, and there's 1 PetSmart within 20 minutes, and I have 2 local aquarium shops. They have very good reputations. They're all 5 minutes away from where I live. I can literally walk to one of the local fish stores. That's where I got my pygmy cories and a lot of the aquatic plants. Because of such a short distance, kept the fish being stressed through the transportation to the minimum. And also, I've tested the water. Their water parameters and my water parameters are almost identical, if not identical. So for me, it's a lot easier. I'm just luckier because once I purchase the fish from, or a plant from them, I bring it to my house, and then I just let the bag sit in the room temperature for a little bit. And then, as the temperature starts matching with my room, that's also the temperature of my water, then I don't need to do any acclimations. I just get the fish out of the bag, and then with a fish net, and then just throw the fish into the aquarium. And from my past like 5 or 6 years of experience, purchasing fish from that local fish store, I almost had 0 casualty rates. Like, for example, for the 9 koi that I got, they all lived. Or the shrimps that I get, they all lived as well. So yeah, I'm just lucky in a way. However, from my experience, whenever I purchase a fish from like a local chain store. I'm not gonna name it, but it can be Petco, PetSmart, you name it. They usually die quicker. I'm not sure if that makes it's just from my experience. Okay, I'm not saying it's particular chain of stores problem. It just probably their water, it's being treated, and it's not the same parameters or not the same ideal situation as my aquarium. So when I bring the fish to my tank, they may be good for the first week, and then I will start seeing maybe 20 to 30% death rates starting the second week when I introduce fish. And so that's just my 2 cents. Do your research. As long as you get your fish where the source from to your tank, and your tank tank parameters, everything is as close to the source, your fish will be fine. Second, aquatic plants. There's a lot of aquatic plants you can get from. You can get from chain fish stores or pet stores. You can get it from your local aquarium shops. You can get it from those online shippings. Of course, online is it's one of the ways, because not everybody is this lucky to have all these fish related stores near you. There's also those dried up plants that you see from Petco and PetSmart. I personally do not recommend those, to be honest with you. At the beginning of my aquarium hobby, I have used those ones. They're not terrible, they're not bad. It's just that if you are a beginner, those dried, like those plants that are in a tube, they're not very beginner friendly, to be honest with you. A lot of times, maybe just within a week, maybe even a couple days, you will see casualties in your plants. And there's also plants that are being dried up and they put in a plastic bag, like especially Anubias. Yep, those ones seem very easy to take care, but they're not. Because those plants have been dried, for a while, and then when you add it to your tank, it takes them longer to acclimate to your tank water. And also because they were dried. So oftentimes they will melt first, they will die off first, and then they will have like new leaves, new roots starts to pop up. But that's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen right away. It's gonna take a while. Especially a lot of times when those plants do melt down, and if there's not enough substrate, there's not enough nutrients in the water, they will not come back. They just die completely, and you just keep getting new dry plants, put it in there, and then it just takes them a lot longer to settle, to just thrive, to just reborn in your water setups before they can thrive. So I don't recommend those to beginners. If you do want live plants, just get a live aquatic plant from a aquarium shop. Those plants that are already in the water, not a dried plant. Your success rate will be a lot higher. However, whatever the source that you're getting your plant from, always, before you buy the plant, look at the plant, make sure the leaves, they look healthy. Definitely don't get, the leaf is already brown, they have holes in it, they're torn. Don't get those. Those are very unhealthy, unless you have CO2 or enough nutrients to, give a little rebirth to those plants. Otherwise, those plants are probably going to end up melting and die. So always, do your observation, choose the healthiest, greenest, no holes sort of leaves. And when you go home, no matter which source that you got it from, make sure you wash them thoroughly. You don't want any surprises. There can be, little small larvas of snails. If you don't want snails, there can be insects. There can be a lot of surprising mystery living creatures in the plants. So you want to wash it thoroughly. And then I always quarantine all my plants. I at least quarantine them for 7 days before adding them to my aquariums, just so that there's no surprises, and I just want to see how they do. And if they survive the quarantine, definitely they will survive your aquarium. So after quarantine, then I introduce them too. But just be patient with plants. A lot of time, plants do need time to establish. in your in a new setup. Once their roots start to get stronger into the substrate, they will start thriving. The moment they become stabilized in your aquarium, you will see them thriving, and then it's just no time. I mean, like within a month or 2 months or 3 months, you'll see them like blossoming like crazy. The growth rate will double, triple. So just give them a little time at the beginning, and then they will eventually come back and be a stabilized plant in your aquarium. At the beginning, always fertilizers. Doesn't matter if it's a liquid fertilizers to the water columns or root taps, depending on which plant that you're getting. Especially if you're a beginner fish keepers or nano aquarium fish keepers, definitely look for the smaller plants and the beginner-friendly plants. I have recommended a couple times on this channel: Java Ferns, Java Moss, Anubias, banana plants, even the clover of Japan. I forgot what its scientific name to it, but it's basically like pennywort. Pennywort, hornwort, guppy grass. Those are all very beginner friendly, low maintenance, low light requirements plants that I think everyone can enjoy in their tank, and the success rate to keep those plants alive are very, very high, unless you're doing something absolutely wrong, which is very hard, unless you use tap water and not using, water treatment. And also, there's something very off on your water parameters that could cause some danger. But otherwise, those plants that I mentioned are very beginner friendly, and you should see a great chance of success. So hopefully these tips helps. Those are all from my experience, from my mistakes, and from what I learned over the years. I'm considering myself luckier than a lot of fish keepers, because I do have a lot of resources in my area, and a lot of people in the neighborhood have fish in their homes, and there's a lot of people sharing their success stories, giving advices, or even best thing is just research. There's online, you can always do research online, asking people who know the stuff, or even stop by a aquarium shop or fish store, ask them for opinions. There's just a lot of resources. Do your research before investing, because these are not cheap. Plants and fish are never cheap. It's easily like $100 every time you purchase something. So for your wallet and for your success rate, do your research. Don't just I want this and then go buy it next day. Always plan ahead and prepare everything that's needed for the success of the fish keeping or the plant keeping. And then when you have all those ready, then then go to the store and buy the plant or buy the fish. Then their success rate will be a lot higher. So those are my 2 cents, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye bye.